Falcon Fever is finally back.
That's right. For the last few weeks, every time we've tried to shoot the show, the weather froze us out and shut down the University of Montevallo.
So, we brought our warmest clothing just in case Old Man Winter tries to freeze us out again. Let's take a look at what's coming up on this week's Falcon Fever.
After winter weather has forced the Falcons to delay a couple of games this week, the men's and women's basketball teams traveled to Georgia Southwestern on Wednesday. But only one UN team walked away with a win. We'll tell you which one coming up.
And UM's baseball team has swung into action for the 2014 season. We'll catch you up on all the action on the diamond.
And soccer may be in the off-season, but men's soccer player Jeffrey Hessenberger joins us as our featured Falcon. Falcon Fever starts now. Hello and welcome to Falcon Fever. I'm Devin Cooley.
And I'm Sydney Fields. Thank you so much for joining us. We've had some wacky winter weather over the past couple of weeks. I don't know about you, Devin, but I sure am glad to be back in the studio.
Very, very glad. The past few weeks of snowy and icy weather certainly put the freeze on Falcon Fever, but some Montevallo athletes weren't afraid to face the cold. Take a look at this picture of the UM men's and women's cross-country teams. This was taken during the first major snowstorm back in January. Not only did they brave the cold to train, but they did so with very little clothing. Thanks to men's cross-country team member Levi Dorsett for tweeting this picture. Now that we're all thawed out from the deep freeze, let's get things swinging with some baseball action. The Falcons are currently ranked 16th in the latest college baseball lineup for D2 schools. Let's catch you up on all the action that led them to that spot. The guys opened their 2014 season with a doubleheader against the University of West Georgia on February 1st at Kermit A. Johnson Field. The Falcons overcame a 3-run deficit in Game 1 and went on to defeat the Wolves 15-12. Then in Game 2, the Falcons were down by 7 points at one point in the game, but the guys were able to soar back and win the game 14-8. The Falcons wrapped up the 3-game series on February 2nd, but they couldn't pull out a third win to sweep the series, and West Georgia took the final game 10-6.
After a couple of days to regroup, the men headed over to Tuscaloosa to take on Stillman College. The Falcons had a strong performance and shut out Stillman with a final score of 7-0. After the game, head coach Chandler Rose said his team is showing maturity on the field. Next for the Falcons was a 3-game series against the St. Leo Lions at Kermit A. Johnson Field on February 7th, 8th, and 9th. The Lions came out strong, putting up 7 points in the first inning, and went on to win the game with a final score of 11-6. The Falcons fared better the next 2 games, winning Game 2 with a final of 8-2 and Game 3 with a final of 8-5. The Falcons are back in action this weekend for their PBC opener against Georgia Southwestern. The 3-game series starts this Saturday at Georgia Southwestern and will wrap up on Sunday. One member of the baseball team has already received major honors this season.
Last week, senior Will Fulmer was named the PBC Player of the Week and the D2 Southeast Region Hitter of the Week by the National Collegiate Baseball Writers Association. Congrats, Will, and keep up the great work.
And UM's freshman baseball players have stood out in the conference.
Last week, Dustin Cowart was named the PBC Freshman of the Week, and this week, Alex Pondick got the Freshman of the Week title.
Congratulations, Dustin and Alex, and keep up the good work.
Women's tennis also swung into action while we were frozen off the air. The women served up a decisive win over the University of West Georgia in their season opener on February 8th. The Falcons swept the Wolves 9-0 after winning all 6 singles and all 3 doubles matches, but the next day the roles reversed as the Falcons took on top-ranked Armstrong Atlantic Pirates. The 2-time defending D2 national champions swept the Falcons for a final of 9-0. At the start of our show this Thursday, the team is currently taking on Tuskegee on the road for a non-conference match. We'll post those results tonight on Facebook and Twitter.
Let's switch gears and catch up on some Falcons basketball. The men's team faced North Georgia on the road February 1st, and what a game it was. The game was close throughout, but with less than a minute left, the Falcons trailed by 7. Teron Brown saved the day for Montevallo, scoring 7 points in the final minute to tie the game 86-86. In overtime, the Falcons were able to pull away, winning with a final score of 101-94. Falcons scored double digits. 6 Falcons scored double digits during the game, led by Brown with 25 and Ryan May with 22. The Falcons stayed on the road to take on Georgia College February 5th. After trailing by 1 at the half, played strong in the second half of the game, outscoring the Bobcats 50-38 and taking the win with a final score of 77-66. 4 Falcons scored at least 10 points that night, led by Shaquem Jackson with 19.
On Saturday the 8th, the Falcons hosted PBC opponent Clayton State University. The Falcons started off slowly, and Clayton State led for most of the game, at one point by as many as 14 points. At halftime, Montevallo trailed by just 5, and during the second half, the Falcons continued to struggle. But in true nail-biter fashion, Teran Brown sank 2 free throws to tie the game in the final minute of regulation. Clayton State then turned the ball over just seconds later, and Teran Brown again sank some free throws to give the Falcons the lead. With just 0.6 seconds left to play, Clayton State went to the line with a chance to tie the game, but missed both free throws, giving the Falcons a 73-71 win. After the win over Clayton State, the Falcons moved up to number 9 in this week's National Association of Basketball Coaches D2 poll. Riding high on their 7-game win streak, the Falcons traveled to Americus, Georgia Wednesday for a matchup against the Georgia Southwestern Hurricanes. But it's true what they say, all good things must come to an end. The Hurricanes snapped the Falcons' hot streak with a final score of 83-74. It was the Falcons' first loss in more than a month and only their 3rd of the season. Ryan May and Silas Mills led the Falcons both with 13 points. The men are back in action on the road this Saturday for a rematch against Clayton State at 2:30. Then the Falcons return to Trustmark Arena next Wednesday in a matchup against Columbus State. Tip-off is set for 7:30. Remember that you'll be able to watch that game streamed live by UM's mass communication students at MontevalloFalcons.com.
The women's basketball team hit a rough patch in their spring schedule.
After losing to North Georgia 77-65 and then dropping a match against Georgia College 87-52, the Falcons were hoping to turn things around as they headed into last Saturday's face-off against Clayton State. The Falcons started off the game strong and held a lead for most of the first 10 minutes, but the Lakers fought their way back soon. Clayton State started off the second half with an 11-0 run and never looked back. The Falcons played a tough game, but couldn't tie the game, losing 66-51. Taylor Beverly recorded her 12th double-double of the season with 14 points and 13 rebounds to lead Montevallo. The game was the Falcons' annual Play for K event. The Falcons wore pink socks, and a silent auction was held with proceeds going to the K. Yao Breast Cancer Awareness Foundation. Breast cancer survivors were honored after the game, and it was great to see all the Falcons and all the fans out to support a great cause.
The women were back in action Wednesday, looking to turn their luck around in the road against Georgia Southwestern. The Falcons led the Hurricanes during the entire game, winning it 66-59. Taylor Beverly led the Falcons and earned her 13th double-double of the season with 18 points and 15 rebounds. The Falcons soar back into action on the road this Saturday for a 12:30 tip-off against Clayton State. Then next Wednesday, the Falcons return to Trustmark Arena to take on Columbus State at 5:30. If you can't make it to the game, you can catch all the action live at MontevalloFalcons.com. Let's head from the hardwood to the greens for some golf updates. Both the men and women's golf teams have opened up spring portions of their schedules.
The men placed 10th at the Spring Kickoff Intercollegiate Tournament Wednesday at the Fleming Island Golf Club in Orange Park, Florida, with a 12-over par score of 295. Nick Davis led the Falcons with a 3-round score of 6-over par 219, which placed him for a 3-way tie, 17th in the individual rankings. The guys swing back into action March 3rd and 4th at the Samford University Intercollegiate Tournament at the Hoover Country Club.
The women's golf team also placed 10th in their season opener. The team carded a collective score of 67 over par 643 at the Tusculum Intercollegiate Tournament at the Cougar Point Club in Kiowa Island, South Carolina. Freshman Elaine Wood led the way for scoring 8 over par 152, which placed her in ninth for the individual rankings. The women are back in action February 24th and 25th at the TSYS Collegiate Classic in Columbus, Georgia.
And now it's time for this week's featured Falcon.
Nathaniel Dennis joins us in the studio to introduce us to this week's athlete. Hi, Nathaniel.
Hi guys, this week's featured Falcon is Jeffrey Hessenberger. Jeffrey's a freshman soccer player from Germany, and even though soccer is in the off-season, the team is working hard to prepare for the upcoming season. I had a chance to catch up with Jeffrey the other day. Let's take a look. All right, I'm joined today by freshman soccer player Jeffrey Hessenberger. He's the starting forward for the Montevallo Falcons, and he's going to tell us a little bit, first of all, about how they prepare for their upcoming season.
So we train almost every day. Only Friday is off, and we do like sprints and it's called miles repeat. There you go through miles, and yeah, the main thing is to prepare ourselves conditionally. Yeah, that's what we do.
All right, Jeffrey, so I was looking through the stats for this Montevallo men's soccer team, and your name came up quite a lot. What do you think your biggest strengths are? What do you bring to the table for this Montevallo men's soccer team?
So last season I started as a forward, yeah, and I had a lot of assists and only 10 goals. I tried to improve myself in scoring goals, but yeah, I'm more the assist guy. So yeah, I'm fast. That's it.
All right. How about off the field? Tell us a little bit about what you do here at Montevallo.
A lot of the time I'm chilling in my room with my roommate. He's also from Germany, and the other time I'm studying for school, and yeah, that's about it. Now I began to tutor in German because they were searching for a German tutor, and yeah, that's what I do off the field.
What are you majoring in here?
My major is management. Yeah, that's it, management.
And so what brought you to Montevallo, Jeffrey?
I had an agent in Germany, and then I had to build up a video of myself, and Montevallo was the school that at the end of the day offered me the most scholarship, but I've already heard that the coach, like Proust Italy, is a very good coach, so that was the main point, the scholarship and a good level of soccer.
Is it a lot to deal with being that far from home?
In the beginning, everything was new for me, so I've never thought about my home too much. But now, I kind of miss home a little bit because we are off season. We don't have many games to play. So, yeah, it's the first time for me to be away that far and that amount of time. But yeah, it's all right. I'm going to be back in May, so everything will be fine.
Tell me, how's the team feeling about the upcoming season this fall?
And we are very exciting to play against UAB on the 22nd of March, I think. On February, yeah, it's in 2 weeks, but everybody is ready to start off because we worked hard and now we want to prove ourselves on the field, and everybody's very excited about it.
All right, well, thank you so much for being here with me, Jeffrey. It was very nice to meet you. If you have any suggestions for a feature Falcon story, be sure to let us know. You can contact us through Facebook or Twitter.
Thanks, Nathaniel. Now it's time for our Falcon Fever Fan of the Week.
This week's fan is Jordan Simeon. Jordan's no stranger to Falcon Fever. He's produced several shows for several semesters and is a recent graduate from UM.
Thanks so much for your continued support, Jordan, and good luck. Now, if you've ever attended a UM athletics event, you know that Montevallo has some very dedicated fans.
And we want to recognize those fans who are supporting the Falcons by showing their school spirit. So we're going to start a new segment in our show called Show Us Your Spirit.
All you have to do is take a picture of yourself at a game showing your school colors. So grab your gold and purple pom-poms, wear your UM gear, and you can even paint your face.
Yes. Send us a picture through Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and we'll feature you on the future episode of Falcon Fever.
And speaking of social media, remember there are plenty of ways to connect with us online.
To see current and past episodes of Falcon Fever, just go to YouTube and subscribe to Montevallo For You channel.
You can also friend us on Facebook to see more sports stories and pictures from various UM sporting events.
Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter for the latest Falcons news and tweets from your favorite UM athletes. Just search @UM Falcon Fever.
And you can also get more pictures and videos on Instagram. Just search for UM Falcon Fever.
And last but not least, you can get extended sports coverage on MontevallowFalcons.com. Well, that's all the time we have for this week's show.
For all of us here at Falcon Fever, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to share the link to this week's show with all your friends. And barring another freeze, we'll see you again next week.